Hey everyone, welcome back. This is VoiceOver Amanda talking to you today. I'm currently at Picnic Point, which is a beach and outlook spot in Everett, Washington, and I'm in a mood, let me tell you. I have struggled with my writing this week and I want to talk about it. I know the cause is all due to imposter syndrome. Constantly being busy, constantly setting expectations, and having a drive to excellence. It's great and all, but sometimes it can be a little bit too much. And it's kind of like having a cold. Like, I saw the early symptoms happening and I couldn't avoid it. A little bit of self doubt here, a little bit of self depreciating thoughts there. And before you know it, you were literally sick, bedridden, afflicted with imposter syndrome. And it's unfortunate because imposter syndrome makes you feel like you're unqualified when you are actually qualified. And the irony is that you could be the most qualified person in the room, but imposter syndrome will make you feel like you are not. It can occur in any part of your life, whether professional, in your everyday work setting, or with fun projects like writing a novel. It's essentially the uninvited, unwelcomed guest to your creative process that you need to kick out because we don't have time for it. And we also only have the limited mental capacity to handle one affliction at once. I'll take unresolved plot holes for 500, please. Thank you. I mean, the entire process of writing a book, you sit with it every day for months or even years, and to write a manuscript that contains not only your characters, but also a story that means something to you. And it also has small parts of yourself that you've included in the story throughout the process from start to finish. It just feels so vulnerable. And when we finally have the courage to share our work and we open ourselves up to both feedback and criticism, we find that we are sometimes our worst critic. And between being our worst critic and juggling expectations and workload and time frames and what we think everything should be, it just leaves the space available for imposter syndrome to make an appearance and then to be fueled even further by the expectations and the criticisms that we put onto ourselves. And imposter syndrome just starts to grow at that point, and you begin to have thoughts like, oh, you're not a real writer unless you're published. No one's going to read your writing because you haven't won any awards. Or, oh my God, you have the audacity to claim to be a writer, but you don't even write every day. And these types of thoughts are just not productive. They don't help you in any way and they hinder the creative process. And just as we would want to get rid of these sorts of thoughts, we would also want to get rid of any type of self-imposed, unrealistic expectations that we set on ourselves, like thinking that our first draft has to be perfect the first time around, or that our writing isn't original enough. This is practically fake news. There's no truth to those statements whatsoever. These statements just pop up in our minds in order to inspire us as writers to abandon our projects or avoid getting started with a project altogether. And it's all just one big trap at the end of the day, which is where I find myself this week, trying my best to not fall into the trap. Because I understand that the imposter syndrome can actually become worse over time, I am trying this week to get ahead of it so that I can get back to working on my novel as soon as possible. And there are a couple things that I like to do when I start to feel that my creative process is being blocked. And the first one is to reframe what success actually means to me and what it looks like. As most of you know, I am pursuing a 6-month challenge right now to become a published author by the beginning of 2026. And with this comes some very large expectations. Something that I've encountered that I need to adjust in order to reframe what success looks like for me is what the goal and the expectation is that I'm setting for myself every single day or week or month. And I've realized that my goals have been set to be very large, which makes them feel almost unrealistic. So, for example, for the month of August, I set my word count goal at 30,000 words for the month, and I left it at that. What I didn't do, which is giving fuel to the imposter syndrome, is I didn't take that goal and break it down further into a daily goal because I told myself I wanted to be flexible, which is working, but it's also hindering me at the same time because I don't have a realistic goal that I can approach on a daily basis that will then allow me to meet my expectation and feel like I've succeeded while chipping away at the goal that is for the entire month. So today I'm taking a much needed break and I'm just adjusting a few things to my goals to make them more achievable for me on a daily basis. The other method that I like to implement when trying to overcome imposter syndrome that actually works better is basically proving myself wrong, proving the statements wrong. Like, where's the receipts, right? Like, we all have writing from our past, maybe our very first story or our favorite story, something we wrote while we were in school or wrote for a friend for fun. But there's elements of those stories that we love that showcase how our writing has changed over time. And all I really do is I go back to those stories when I need to, and I reread the story and I compare it to what I've been writing now. And I pay attention to how much my writing has changed. My vocabulary is much stronger, my techniques are more advanced, and I'm including character interiority, and my author's voice is so drastically changed due to the experience I have gained from writing over time. And just those receipts alone are enough to help me to gain my confidence back and get myself back on track. Other than that, I like to go and I read comments that people have left on my writing or just encouraging things from other writer friends. And I wanted to talk about this today because I didn't want to suffer in silence because I know as writers we do that often. And I feel like a lot of other writers may be dealing with the same thing. So I hope this video was able to help you out if you're suffering from imposter syndrome. And if you liked this style, just leave me a comment below and let me know. I'd love to maybe do more videos like this more often for the future. Other than that, I hope you guys have a happy week and a full week of writing wherever you are at in your writing process. Bye-bye.